Dominic can introduce himself, but if we had a good voice for kind of the crystallization that's happening and the synergizing of our visions, we were going to like Dominic as our voice.
It feels pretty clear that there's some higher intelligence that's brought us all together here this week. We arrived on campus last Tuesday without any awareness that this board meeting was happening and that the future of ions was up for discussion and that an awareness of the generational healing was very much on the top of the list of those things that people were seeing was needing to happen. Our lives in many ways have been guided by this kind of synchronized serendipitous magic, and it's something that we've learned to trust. As we've come together over the years, our alignments have been by resonance, by a deep intuitive knowing. We see each other's eyes and we recognize the soul that's shining back at us and reflecting that same presence and divinity. And we've experienced over the years as our paths have woven themselves together and we've aligned with these other magical young beings, we've found that there's clearly a larger plan that's unfolding. There's a very deep intelligence that's guided us all. So each of us on our own path, growing up and wherever we grew up, waking up through whatever mechanisms came in to catalyze that realization that the life that we might have been living, like as Luke was saying in high school and the things that we were teaching us, we found that there wasn't a future for us in that culture. There was a deep disconnect. There was a very clear guidance that more is possible than they have shown you, so go find it. So that's essentially what we've set about upon over the prior years. And within the wholeness of the community that's now come together, we have gone about and we have explored every tradition we could find on the planet. The shamanic traditions, the indigenous traditions, the ancient wisdom, the modern high technologies and sciences, and the galactic wisdom. We've opened to all of it coming in, and we've sought to extract the wisdom and the nectar, the essence from it. But we were also clear that we weren't going to try to be those other people or those other cultures, that wasn't true to our hearts either, because that wouldn't be a response to the level of creation that was being asked for. It would just be trying to be somebody else, rather than truly finding ourselves through all these reflections and through all these threads and these little breadcrumbs along the path that have been left for us. So in that journey, we have found what we see now as a very coherent, essential vision. We were being called to explore how we might help and assist in bringing about a new planetary culture, how we could help bring about the healing of the damage that's been done to humans and to the earth, how we could help catalyze the realization of the much grander potential for life than we have yet seen manifest in this world, and how we could then, by bringing it into our own being and by creating it with our own little microcosm, we went about creating a new culture. We didn't have a place to plug into in the collective reality. There wasn't a space for us to be ourselves and give our gifts if we were to follow a traditional path. If we were to do what we had been told we had to do to survive and thrive in the collective reality, we would simply be adapting ourselves into the dynamics of that system. And we knew that a greater level of in some ways, bravery was called for. We had to take that tough step to say, rather than accept the golden ticket to get the high-paying job and the comforts that these days can provide, we had to step away from that and to take a harder path, where maybe there wasn't so much money and maybe there wasn't such a clear idea of where it would go, but where there was so much passion and inspiration and love and possibility. That journey has brought us together. And as we have aligned over the years and as we've realized the plan that was unfolding through us, though we didn't necessarily know where it was going, we have brought these skills of how to live upon the earth into our beings. In our community, we have people that have become maybe novice masters is a way that we could put it, at a whole multitude of different things, from technology to permaculture, to natural building, to food preparation, to organic gardening, to simply taking life as a potential and bringing forth the high art of that. Whatever it is, we have gone for the finest expressions of life we could find. the superfoods, the brilliant arts, all these wonderful ways. In a way, we've wanted to figure out how good it could be to be in a body. How wonderful that could be when we came together and saw the beauty this earth provided, realized the potential that was there, and found it in community. So it wasn't about one of us necessarily having the right answer and being the savior of all. It was about together seeing what we could create. This summer, we found that in a way we've arrived. We've become the community of beings we were born to be. And at the fore of that community has been the visionary artists, the musicians, and the performers. These brilliant reflections beaming back at us and at humanity of the possibilities of life. The artist bringing forth that design of creation, the sacred geometry, bringing forth the wisdom that the quantum physicists are discovering and that the mystics have always been trying to share with us, putting it into a visual form so people could see it and realize not only is this possible, but this is who you are. This is who life is, and this is who we are becoming together if we are brave enough to step through the illusions and honor the potential that we find just across that horizon. So as we've crystallized into this community, we have, in a way, energetically arrived at this, we set this grid point. And we didn't know what the paths were going to be individually, but we knew we were all going to get together right there. And we've come to that place now. And the level of resonance and the level of love and possibility that we see together has been really profound. At the same time, we've done that in the midst of a culture, like I said, that didn't have a place for us. So we've done it without really sufficient resources. We've done it without really having a healthy culture to create within, without having elders who could see us and support us along that path, without having access to a lot of the tools and the potential that these days provide. So we've come to a place now where we know what we have to give. We know it's beyond that which we realize yet. And we know that in order to take these next steps, we have to be whole as a community of life. And that, in many ways, is what's brought us here to IONS and to all of you. You have created us. You have opened up the potentials. You have allowed the exploration of possibility to occur in these prior decades. And we have received all that you've brought forth. The internet and the technologies and the freedom of travel, that's allowed us to draw from everything that was out there, to not be limited by proximity or what we had access to in our direct space, but to really receive the fullness of what was there. So now as we look out on the world and we see the level of imbalance that exists, we see the context into which we are coming of age, we know what we're here to do. We're not quite sure what it ends up looking like. That's the conversation we all get to have together. But our hearts really are clearly guiding us that our medicine is to take what you have helped bring forth into the world and to help take it out into that world, to bring it into our bodies and to reflect back the integration of those ideas and potentials, and then to support the people of this world and our communities in healing, in transforming, and in realizing that potential for life, for embodied consciousness, so that we can be both fully spirit and fully a body. And then we can, in some ways, get to the point, the beginning of the beginning of creating together in love on this beautiful earth and realizing all the potential and beauty that that holds for us. So we've come here very much aware of what is over the horizon. And as those imbalances we see in the ecological realm, in the geopolitical realm, we see what's happening with oil. We see the design flaw that we have applied into the world through the collective energy of the oil era. We have replicated and manifested this thought form into structure. We have deconstructed the local relationships that people had come into with their land. And we're telling a story with incredible force that cannot be told for any duration of time and have it actually work. That's what's going on right now. Into the midst of that, we find ourselves waking up and becoming. We see all of you with all these brilliant ideas, and we see the potential for healing and transformation, for a birth to be midwifed of a new culture in the midst of a death of an old culture. And it's that dance, it's that walk together that we seek to embark upon, that we've come here to begin, so that we can be whole, and we can have all of the gifts that we each have to offer each other. We can mentor you, and you can mentor us. We can share our gifts and insights, and you can support and reflect back the wisdom of your experience. A healthy culture would do this for itself. And if we look into what's going on all around us, we see that the time for that action to come about is clearly now. If we want to moderate some of the impacts of this imbalance releasing, the time is now. Chaos, the release of old structure, provides opportunity. Into that opportunity, rather than allowing fear to draw us into deeper expressions of these centralized systems that currently dominate all essential qualities of life, where our food and water and power and everything comes from, are being controlled far away from us. And we're dependent upon them for our survival. Being dependent upon systems with inherent design flaws is probably not a healthy way to go about living in the world. So there's a lot of healing that can go on. There's a lot of transformation that's called for. And we know that everything that's needed for that to occur is present. If we would but see each other, enter into that dialogue, and form the kind of dynamic relationships that can give us the resiliency and the adaptability to move through these years of transition and into the beauty that we were created to bring forth into this world. Thank you.
Thanks, Dominic. We just had to get that out of our systems. It's nice to